Nico here. This video will be discussing the MangoPengo drama and my side of the story. There are parts of this video that have very sensitive topics such as grooming and CP. First, let's see the definition of grooming and make a criteria. What's grooming a minor mean? Grooming a minor refers to the process by which an adult establishes an emotional connection with a child for the purpose of sexual exploitation or abuse. This process typically involves building trust with the child and potentially their caregivers, manipulating the child's emotions and desensitizing them to inappropriate behavior. Grooming often occurs over time and can involve various tactics such as flattery, gifts, attention, and gradually introducing inappropriate or sexualized conversations or activities. The ultimate goal of grooming is to prepare the child for sexual abuse or exploitation by the perpetrator. This is a serious form of child abuse and is illegal in many jurisdictions. I don't know if I butchered that word or not. Now, let's see. Let's make a short criteria for grooming minors. Number 1, building trust. Number 2, emotional manipulation. Number 3, isolation tactics. Number 4, testing boundaries. Number 5, manipulative techniques. Number 6, gifts and special treatment. And lastly, number 7, secrecy maintenance. I first discovered his channel when I saw his most popular video, Touhou and Autism, which was plagiarized, by the way. Then, I watched more of his videos and really enjoyed his content. He became my favorite Touhou content creator. As a content creator myself, I wanted to make more content like his and maybe work with him someday. When I first joined the Discord server, I was welcomed, and it was toxic-free, filled with fun people. I was one of the artists there posting Touhou fan art, and sometimes I would be acknowledged by MangoPengo. It was going well for a week on the server, working with him. One night, I got super drunk, and I sent a lot of voicemails on his server. And at that time, he was looking for a female voice actor. When he heard my voice, he asked me if I was interested in voice acting in one of his videos. Of course, as a fan of his, I was excited and said yes. He would ask me how old I was and what my gender was, as you should. And that's when he knew I was a minor and I was turning 15 on March 10. He preferred to work with 15 or older, but he still accepted because he really needed voice actors. Then after voice acting for him, he would sometimes randomly message me and have friendly interactions. Drunk Nico. One night, I randomly messaged him drunk, and he would keep me occupied for the rest of the night. In the same night, I found out he is 18. While I'm drunk, he would say stuff like I'm a cute girl or I'm precious. Reading these again, I felt like I was special. I felt like I was likable. When I was broken up with another groomer of mine, I had a very depressing status that made Mango ask me about my well-being. This is the night where we would VC and I would cry and vent to him. The morning after, I would also ask if he was okay because he didn't really seem okay that day. He would vent to me about being abandoned by one of his female friends, which also was his best friend. I felt bad for him as a friend, so I offered him my company to make him less sad. On the same day, he asked for my Snap. When I told him I don't have Snap, he made me download it so we could add each other. On Snap, he asked me to do a face reveal, and so I did. After my face reveal, he would say things like, "If it weren't for your age, I would be asking you for nudes right now." On the same day we added each other on Snap, we would VC and I would be making overly sexual jokes and make him sexual and send him the sexual items I bought in the past and my sexual past with ex-partners. I'm guilty on this part because at the time that we were talking, I was very mentally unstable and a wee bit sexual with my close friends as I recently got out of a relationship with another guy who groomed me. A few hours later, at night, he would start venting to me, and he left the call to later tell me he will quit the internet for a few days or so. I would comfort him because I cared about him, and then he would come back to message me on Snap and VC the next day. During our calls, I would be mostly the one sharing about myself and my art, including NSFW. And I would flirt as a joke and he would flirt back. We'd call each other Pookie or Big Daddy, meaning my friends. He would mostly act like we never talked about those sexual stuff or flirted. And so, when me and my friends are in a VC with him, or I'm in a VC with his friends, he would tell me not to flirt with him in front of them or talk about the sexual stuff we talked about because it would raise red flags and make others freak out. I thought this was kind of weird, but I went along with it. The more we hung out, the more he would tell me how much I meant to him and he didn't care about anyone anymore. He would tell me that he didn't care if his friends was calling him a pedo or telling him what he's doing to me was pedo shit. And he'd be more clingy towards me. And when I would go outside with a friend, he'd get mad and threaten to leave me for a few hours and be cold to me. As a person with abandonment issues, I was really scared to be left alone by him, and he clearly knew that because I vented about it in VC before. Because of this behavior of his, I felt like I couldn't leave him for a minute to even shower or talk to my friends. He would even sometimes make me share screen to check if I was recording or if I was talking to my friends about what we're doing. When I was about to leave the call to masturbate, he told me not to leave and asked if I could mute. He said no and wanted me to do it on call. I knew it was wrong and I didn't want him to get in trouble, so I kept saying no. But then he told me something. He told me that no one was gonna find out and told me to just continue if I wanted to masturbate. I was scared to leave and I felt like he was expecting me to do it, so I continued. Because I didn't want to disappoint my favorite YouTuber. I didn't want to disappoint my friend. I didn't want to disappoint the one who helped me get through my last breakup. The night I first did it, he would tell me that we should stop doing that and that I shouldn't do anything sexual, but then he'd make a sexual joke and I thought that we're back to making sexual jokes again. And the cycle would just keep happening. Rejecting sexual stuff, flirting, and then masturbating and then repeat. Until it was just normal to me. Opening up to my friend. When I first opened up to my friend, I was hesitant and I was scared that she was gonna think that I'm a whore or something. She was shocked and sad for me and told me to block him, but I didn't because I was scared that he would leak everything that we did together. I was scared that I wasn't gonna feel special like that again, even if it was hurting me and it was making me feel drained from the nightly e-sex. Then I got another opinion from another friend, and he said that my other friend was right. I was being groomed. I was sad, hurt, and I didn't know what to do. When I talked to him about it, I told him the half-truth that my friend saw our messages, and he freaked out. He started acting more paranoid, more anxious, and he would tell me to lie to my friend that I blocked him and that we're no longer talking. And I said that I lied to her, but in reality, we were in the process of making a video about it. After that incident, I was more distant with him and didn't call as much. I spent more time outside with my friends. Meanwhile, at home, he would just stay online to wait for me and sometimes send angry messages. Whenever I'd go out with my friends I haven't seen in a while, he'd act like I owe him time just because he doesn't have anyone, or that there's no one special like me. One day, I got really fucking sick of everything and I felt like I was breaking. So I finally ignored him the whole day and night. The day after, I VC'd him and he'd add me in a GC with another underage girl that was lesbian. Everything was alright until he made a threesome joke. We were both weirded out and she could tell I was weirded out too. She was flirting with me and in Mango AFK'd for a bit. He invited me to a private call and Mango went absolutely fucking nuts. Yeah. This was the day I was saved. After that, Mango was apologizing. But it didn't affect me anymore, because I was sick of everything. I came in contact with my other friend of 3 years who was also groomed in the past. She asked if I wanted to add my experience in another Google Doc that she was making. So I gave her the evidence, and then she wanted to come in contact with him to confront him. So I invited her on the server and we'd VC together with him. When I left for a second, she confronted him and came back to tell me that he's telling her that I'm lying. I must admit, I did snap and threaten Mango that I was gonna send a video of myself self-destructing. My friend was scared and left me alone for one night, and I thought she was just sleeping. But she talked to him behind my back. When I invited her to a server where I put my evidence against Mango and about him grooming me and other people, she sent screenshots to Mango, basically rotting us out. I was angry and hurt that she even did that. I didn't even want to waste time on her anymore and just blocked her and blocked Mango. In conclusion, now let's see the criteria. Number 1, building trust. Check. Number 2, emotional manipulation. Check. Isolation tactics. Check. Building boundaries. Testing boundaries. Check. Manipulative techniques. Check. Gifts and special treatment. Check. And lastly, secrecy maintenance. Check. So, the conclusion is that MangoPengo is a fucking groomer. He is the textbook groomer. And now, thank you for watching and hearing me out to talk about this. Thanks.